Hello and welcome. You're watching This Week in Meteor, episode 108. My name is Dvorak, aka Storyteller CZ. Apologies for the delay. Sadly, Alim is missing in action. I was not able to reach him, and due to our continent's distance, I can drive to his home. So we'll have to kind of power through this kind of in this setup of me. Also have a delivery coming in, so it will be a power hour. But while you are at it, this is episode 108, and we are doing predictions of the future or of what's actually going to happen this year, and probably trends that will continue on, trends that are continuing. And with that, leave in the chat, in the comments, your own predictions, and let's see how much we align, or maybe if you have something interesting to add. If we have some time, maybe you can have some guests from the audience as well. So let me know in the chat, what are your thoughts of what's going to happen this year, or maybe what's already happening. That's kind of the business with predictions. So once again, this is episode 108. My name is Dvorak, aka Storyteller CZ, across the social media sphere. And let's get into the news. And with the news, the first story, as it's kind of have been for last year quite often, we have, again, AI. And the question is, how much can you do with the AI tools, and how much actually putting together you have to do. And oftentimes it's just in the browser, just in your IDE. Well, Cloud is now has introduced Cowork, or it's from Anthropic. It's a preview. So if you have one of their expensive tiers, that's where you can get your hands on it. Which excludes me for other reasons. So this tool is different in that case, that you kind of give it access to your desktop, to your files. You can select which files it can work with, and then it can read them, rearrange them, make new ones, and if you give it the permission, also delete them. As always, they give a big warning that you should be careful and make sure that to give enough warning, or be careful with your prompts so that you don't actually accidentally delete sensitive stuff. So Alim thought here that this just looks like a classical FOMO to get people into the ecosystem that Anthropic is building around Claude. And it's very much work in progress. So we'll see how this is going to move forward. Definitely something to watch as more and more areas open up for these AI tools. And originally I always thought that with the AI tools, with the AI agent, I just want to give it a task, and for it to be able to go and do it, go create the files, and maybe check my email and whatnot, all those things. And that has been kind of difficult, and this might be kind of getting into that direction, but I cannot leave you be the judge. Now then, more on the kind of getting into our prediction territory already. What has happened is that there has been a little bit of drama around Tailwind. There was a pull request to add LLMs.txt to their documentation. LLMs.txt pretty much is a file, or the architecture around it is that you kind of sum everything into that file, so it's easier for AI to read. And this pull request was rejected, and in that we also learned that 75% of the Tailwind developer team has been laid off that week. primarily because people stopped going to the documentation, which was the main place where the Tailwind team was advertising their, I could say, services and premium subscription and whatnot. And of course, if people don't have any idea that it exists, then there is even smaller chance that they can, subscribe to them and make use of them. So Theo, YouTuber or a streamer in general, made a video about it, explaining what's going on, and pretty much went around and I could say in quotes bullied other companies to subscribe to Tailwind and make sure that the team gets supported and that it doesn't disappear, which I think it's very noble, very much for it, especially given how much Tailwind has an impact on, say, the CSS sphere and where that all went. I am kind of with this very much worried where this leaves us, where kind of we will be, where this is going to head, and I will explore that in our section of predictions more in depth. And as always, we are thinking, what can be like the solution, because there isn't enough, you could say, money to support all the open source projects that you would think would need supporting. So there might be potentially kind of reduction of open source project to only the big ones or those that can get their backing. Or there has been also alternative here proposed by Ryan Fleury, called Software Kingdoms. He has much more in-depth and analysis kind of on what I would mostly agree are some of the problems of open source today. But one of the solution is that pretty much you establish a software kingdom that is something between open source and closed source. You pretty much, you become a part of the community, and inside that community you share between the members the code and funding and everything together and learning. So kind of like a developer circle in that aspect, but outside of it you have to, I think, either pay for it or it's not accessible. So I think we are kind of heading in that direction. We'll be exploring more of these topics, but I'm getting ahead of myself on this because that will explore that a bit later on. But if you made it so far, leave us a like. There is all the things that you can click, so leave us a like. This will help us in the algorithms and make sure that we have kind of the boost of ourselves, that people are watching and that it's interesting to them. Now, another trend that we have been seeing, and that's written in these articles, is, and I think we've already touched on it last episode, or maybe we already had in the background a lot of discussions on this topic, is that developers are ditching framework and coming back to vanilla JavaScript. Or I would maybe add to that maybe that just with all the AI tools that people are just using the pure HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript for the basic pages and the non-complicated stuff. Frameworks have become, let's say, lately very complicated and taking on more and more challenging, and for many niche problems. And the standards have evolved by themselves a lot, so that a lot of the things that, for example, before you needed jQuery, most of jQuery API got adopted in one way or another, or at least the most used one, into the core API itself. There weren't any query selector before jQuery, and even longer when jQuery was around. So It was actually when I was back in college, one of the first tasks in my JavaScript class was centered about DOM manipulation, which then I pretty much only had classes and IDs to really be able to work around, and I had to go into different child elements, everything. It was a freaking nightmare, and that homework was designed to kind of weed off the students who just took it because they thought it was like a cute class, and so that only the serious ones remained, and then things got easier with jQuery, because for this homework we could only use the the native API, no jQuery or any other libraries. So things have evolved a lot, and kind of going with just the absolute basics will, I think, be more and more increasing trend. So give this a read. Definitely something to watch out for. And whoops, I just messed my nose here. So another things to watch out for. This came out recently. I think we've covered it last year as well. But there is the JavaScript Rising Stars for year 2025. This takes the development of GitHub stars through the years, and then it compiles the list of the various, say, projects that got the most stars, like increase, and how they evolve through the year, which definitely is something to kind of look out for, so that you know what's trendy in the ecosystem, so that you're not surprised that if some project comes out. We should probably do this much more on the show, to look on the trending page of GitHub to see what's happening, and kind of end with the trend with the AI. And I have been seeing that a lot in my notification for the project N8N. I've seen a lot of releases through the year, and it's become the most, I could say, popular project overall for last year. And N8 is a open source version of Zapier, and it has become the de facto go-to place to connect all the different agents and AI tools together with all the other services and between each other as well. Plus, it also has some other programming inside it for that as well. So with, I think, the rise of AI, this is going to be an ongoing start to watch. Number 2 was React Bits, which is for animations, and then we had ShatCN UI, which is the famous React UI library that has kind of become the de facto new Bootstrap around, that everybody is using to style their websites and React. Another thing to kind of highlight, or the number 4, is Excalidraw, and then we have Supabase, OnLook, BetterAuth, Dyad, Affine, StageEnd. So if any of these don't really sound familiar to you, then I think it's definitely good for you to go and check it out. You might find something interesting, or at least you will be kept in the loop on what's happening. And we've seen some of these projects around already in the past, and they're just getting popularity. Then I want to skip quickly to the front-end frameworks, where we have, of course, on the first spot, React. So React is not going anywhere. It's actually getting still most popular, not just amongst the front-end frameworks in general, but also in the general still increase. So React has not hit its peak, you could say, at this point. Interestingly, though, on the second place is Ripple, which you could say is one of the maybe a successor or competitor to Solid. It kind of puts uses, or is thought it as alternative with solid or svelte, and kind of is an attempt, you could say, about how how we should have front end frameworks in the future. So did not expect that. Expected Svelte or Vue, but they were third and fourth respectively. HTMX also kind of got attention. So that's a fun thing. By the way, again, reminder: these are GitHub stars. That doesn't mean that more people are using this project. That just means that people are looking into it, find them interesting, and definitely something to keep an eye on, if nothing else. So check this website out. Go see what else is there, and maybe you might find solution to one of your problems. With that, please hit also subscribe so you can know when we'll have our next shows and other things. We'll have some holidays coming up for us, or breaks. So subscribe, hit the bell button so you are notified when we are back on air. And with that, it's time that we go into Meteor news. We have three news for you. So first of all, we have a new release candidate. This is a bit outdated picture, but we have release candidate 3 for version 3.4 of Meteor, which supports the RSpec 1.7 series with some limitations. And we have a lot of updates around that, which makes sense because that's what the release is all about. There are some improved warning messages. Also, it will include not this one, but the next one will include the latest note with the security fixes. And another thing, there is a revamp, a React skeleton with better defaults, even router configs, and more advanced visuals so that you can hopefully get started faster. Next, our friend and occasional co-host at this point, Jan Küster, is putting together Blaze user group meetings for this year, so once a quarter. I'll be there as well to kind of look up, because recently I did some updates to the Blaze UI components around accounts that will be coming in the next Meteor releases as well. So I'll be there kind of to see what's happening in Blaze and keep a bit touch, and also let people know what I'm doing in that respect. It was decided that the meeting is going to be on Thursday at 3 o'clock GMT. The date is still to be determined for quarter one. Excuse me. So if you are using still Blaze or are interested in moving that forward, definitely shouldn't miss that one. Check out the forum thread and be part of it. And the final news for today is that there is going to be more news about Galaxy and Meteor and everything in between, starting on 26th January up to the 30th January. The main thing starting with the Galaxy expansion overview on the 26th, then going what's happening with Galaxy Metal. Then we have interaction to Galaxy Crew. Then they will be introducing in depth Adonis.js support for Galaxy, and they will be closing it off with Meteor 3.4 and the road ahead. So I'm hoping we are going to see some announcements in regards to the future roadmap and where Meteor is heading. So with that, it's time to dive into our topic that everybody has been waiting for, which is predictions for 2026 and beyond. So share yours in your comments or reactions to what we have kind of put here together. These are ideas from me and Alim that we've discussed and put together. When we were discussing this, there we've kind of had to, we have to kind of keep it concise because some of these predictions and topics are pretty wide, or there's a lot of tangents that we can go on about. So I'll try not to go on too many tangents, try to uh, keep things together, and let's see uh, where we are going to end up. So first one was, as you kind of guessed by the news from Alim, MeteorJS will move back to vanilla JS, or at the very least talk about it. There's always a lot of talk about the best practices and doing that and not the other thing. Uh, Oftentimes, people like to kind of blow it and kind of tell other people what to do, but then don't, for various reasons, do it themselves. So that is a trend that will be seeing, or at least very much in case of talking about it. What we should be doing, and this kind of follows up again from what I mentioned previously. It's much more easier to now use the native APIs to build websites, to build actually even like pretty advanced sites, and you don't need a lot of these advanced tools or some very lightweight ones. Another thing is that together with this, the LLMs are going to join in, and I've already done it for one of my pages that I was asked to do, which is just generated in pure HTML, CSS, and then I just needed one PHP form, and that was enough. I didn't have to do anything crazy, and I think we'll see a lot more pages like this. This is going to be uh, more approachable to people outside of the field to do with these tools, even like on the free tiers. So we'll be seeing that as well. The question on that is, are we going to see improvements in standard libraries and vanilla? And I think it's been a long road. These things takes a long time, and we will see this year. I think a lot of these new APIs becoming standard, being more applied in browser. I've been talking for years about the new date API, and just as it happens, I forgot what's its new name. Just a quick moment. It's I just have it on the top my tongue, and let's quickly jump to MDN and take a look. My God, what's the name of it? Chad, help me out here. We have a new API for managing dates. Is it on starting with T? No. Oh man. And it's the main big thing about this API is that it replaces a lot of the different date APIs that have been around, like so, and it makes it easier to manage dates. Oh my God, I was just thinking about it and now I cannot find it. Just a moment. I know somebody was talking about it, so I just have to check their show notes. And oh man, this is Temporal. Yes, I knew, I knew it was fronty. So temporal API is one of those things that is very likely to happen. Actually, it already has shipped. And let me just double check exactly where it has shipped. So it is now available in Firefox. And if I scroll down here for the availability, it's available in Firefox, and now in version 144 of Chrome. Even Safari has it hidden behind, let's just say, behind like a flag. So pretty much temporal is a safe bet that it will be generally available, I would say, within a month or two, hopefully. And that's going to really change how we will be doing dates. And I am very much looking forward to it, though I will have to probably get some sort of polyfill into Node to handle it on the server. So temporal is one of the APIs that will make our life easier, and I believe a lot more will be coming down the pipeline. And see, so that's what's going to happen. I think we'll see updates to a lot of these standard libraries that are used as well, and frameworks will matter less and less as AI gets better, and will be just really able to code what you need, just that one little part without including the entire framework around it. So that was Alim's prediction, with which I very much agree. Let us take a look what, because this is a bit more, I think, yeah, this is, so I think this, if I'm correct, this starts with Alim's predictions. So another spicier prediction was that GitHub will no longer be the center of universe for developers. This is kind of going on the trend after GitHub was bought by Microsoft. Now GitHub doesn't have a CEO. It's under the AI division. So a lot of developers have been getting a bit antsy about it, and not happy that GitHub is trying to kind of push Copilot into everything in the same way as Microsoft is trying to push Copilot into everything in Windows. So, and late last year we had, could say, maybe a fiasco, I want to call it, in regards to payments for actions that run outside of GitHub. That got reversed, but it still left a bit of a foul taste. And there's a lot of people talking about, moving to alternative solutions and looking for alternatives, bit GitLab, Bitbucket. Surprisingly, though, from my perspective, GitLab and Bitbucket are kind of overlooked. And I would say, for GitLab, that's kind of interesting, because that is an open source solution. So it's very interesting, and I think Jan Küster will have a lot to say about the enshittification of GitHub and Microsoft in the comments later on. And yeah, our prediction is that this year is going to be the year that GitHub will stop being the center, and you could say the open source community and people developing software are going to shatter into multiple directions, which is going to have definitely an impact on open source, because it's much more easier for collaboration and kind of things to happen, and or even like analysis of what's popular happen if you have like one place, instead if you have to kind of source it together from multiple places. So that is going to have, I think, an interesting impact. But who knows, maybe it was a long time coming things, and I would kind of say that maybe this might be the beginning of an end of the golden era of open source. So let's see what we have next here. This is one of my predictions, kind of following from Alim's predictions of more vanilla JS taking center stage. I believe that new CSS feature will take, again, also center stage because of the improvements that have happened. We now have, native carousels and native models, accordions and other things, but which before we had, quite annoying libraries or other things to make it work. So that has made it into the standard, and there has been a lot when it comes to CSS, and kind of feel that I have to relearn CSS again, figure out what's happening. Thankfully, there's this CSS Wrap 2025 from Google, if I remember correctly, that goes into the details of what has happened last year in CSS, what are the new features. I will definitely be spending a lot more time in trying to get into that. Another big thing related to this is that web GPU is going to become more interesting, more known. And I think if there is some, big project that makes, big splash that uses web GPU, and that is the main centerpiece of what makes it so cool and amazing looking, then we might kind of see a bigger adoption across the board of web GPUs. So that's in that, and we'll kind of see, hopefully, the CSS frameworks taking advantage of all these new CSS features. Let me just quickly. Okay, so we are missing one here. Apologies for graphics. So let me actually skip here to this prediction before going to one that's missing in our graphics. And this one is Alim's. Let me get to the notes here. And that it says computational capacity is going to plateau for general audience. And I very much agree with this. This is something that we have been already seeing kind of murmuring about on the internet, about thanks to all the expenses of AI and the AI company just buying RAMs and GPUs whether they can. The cost, thanks to this buyout of, is going up for buying a new computer, which I have to do this year. So it's better to do it as soon as possible, because especially like if you are doing like a gaming computer or more high-end computer, you are going to pay a lot of premium for those components. So, and I think we've already also hit the limit of how much extra RAMs and GPUs we are going to be getting. There is talk about in NVIDIA in the latest their latest model not really adding up more VRAM and all the other things. It's just kind of staying, even though so we have even more stronger chips, but the other things around it will be staying the same. Alim knows that this is in essence a death of Moore's law, but it still kind of translates to other areas as well. So not completely, but again, we'll probably see a plateau, which I think will which will lead to a couple interesting things happening. I think there will be an increased pressure on the performance of games and web application or applications in general. There will be more pressure, to keep your current hardware longer as well, and people will be looking to kind of how to breathe life into their older hardware, and that's where we'll probably see a bigger rise of Linux desktop, especially on older hardware. Uh, some people have been saying that this is the year of Linux desktop, but at the same time, that has been something that's been predicted for years past. But I think we might be potentially seeing a start of it, where Linux is going to get more prominent. Hardware costs are going to play a role in this, but also enshittification of Windows and Mac as well will have people looking for alternatives. And I think there will be a lot more talk about planned obsolescence in this regard, and not this year, but kind of more down the road. I think we'll see that kind of the planned obsolescence, where you need to change your phone like every 2 years maximum. You can keep like any tech is 5 years, and at that point, it might be falling apart in some respects. That is really going to There's going to be strong pressure about right to repair and for things to last longer, especially depending on how much the say data centers are going to be eating all these components up. And we'll probably see there's, I think, also potential that NVIDIA completely shifts to catering to the AI companies, and there really won't be much left for gamers or anybody else who kind of wants to do these things on their own. So that's where we are going. Computational capability is going to plateau for general audiences, and in a sense, a lot of that is also going to be because we'll just move the compute to the cloud. Now, speaking of cloud compute, all that stuff, the big question, I think the only question that a lot of people are asking is AI. And my prediction on this is that AI will find its place this year. I don't think AI will no longer be scary. We better understand its capabilities and limits, and that is because more people will go in and start exploring and sharing information. I do believe it was Theo again that said that it's late, and now if you've kind of been outside of it, now is the time to go in, tinker with it, because it has become established technology. I think that's what's really going to happen. I believe that there might be like one major bump in model capabilities this year, but even that is going to become much harder. So I'm predicting only one major bump, and then there's just going to be a lot of smaller incremental ones, and we'll see less of the wow moments that we have seen over the past few years. In a way, I'm kind of reminded of kind of comparing this to the the AI ecosystem, to the JS ecosystem 10 years ago. And 2014 or in 2015 especially has been a wild year of new frameworks, like every month, and or maybe sometimes every other week. And it was just crazy time to be alive. And in 2016 things were still also pretty crazy, but it was not as crazy as 2015. In a way, there has been kind of the beginning of calming of things, and compared to how crazy it was back then, today is like relatively calm. So I think this will be also a bit of a calming around AI, and people will kind of be more at ease. I don't think that related to this AI firings will materialize, or at least uh, not in the doom and gloom prediction that the AI companies like to make. But it will reduce hiring, and I there isn't like any idea how to handle junior developers, how to get them into the more senior roles, and how to grow them in this field. uh, I'm predicting more in the long term that we'll kind of go back to master and apprentice system again. But it will be also difficult because a lot of the senior developers will be doing a lot more. And especially, I think the more senior are, you will be doing more with the AI and less coding yourself. So that is going to be one of the big struggles related to this. And I think it might actually lead to restructuring of the entire industry and what developers do and what will be their role. Next point from that open source will also change. We already seen it with the Tailwind story earlier. But again, public outcry is not going to save every project. I think there will be much more push for AI companies to get more involved, to donate more to a lot of these projects, and be more responsible in this area. Alim, I think that the OSASI license might see some more of adoption. I very much like it. There's just a lot of people that complain when it's not open source. It's no true open source, all that stuff. And Alim here has a really nice point, which I kind of think follows on that the false equilibrium has drastically shifted with AI, and a lot of the benefits no longer outweigh the risks and detriment, which means that the people won't be open up things, and AI tools will also in a way deteriorate. We've seen Stack Overflow pretty much almost like going back to activity just when they started. And this is something also that I see a lot with Literary Universe, or like that I worry, because AI is trained on our code, on our data, on our text. So, and we've seen that once it kind of starts consuming its own text, it starts to deteriorate. So if there is less open source code that it can, or like questions and answers and internet code that it can consume, it will deteriorate, and it will decrease in quality, and who knows, maybe they might just like cut off that it will not consume anything maybe after 2025 because it's just too much of its own code. So that's I think something that we'll have to watch out for. Like even today when I code, I sometimes have feeling when I try like a new model, I kind of work with it, and then I open it up again and next week, and I feel it's just gotten stupider. Even though I'm kind of doing similar tasks, and it just performs much worse. So it has that is actually already an established pattern that the models actually get stupider over time, but that's a different story, and I think we might have to. This is again something that we are going to be more aware of, and we'll see where that goes. Also, in this, or as part of this, that SaaS companies will struggle more, as for a large customer, for example, it will, I think, in many cases, be cheaper for them just to have their own developers with AI create a custom solution exactly for them, and for small companies to just quickly spool up something basic that they need for needs, that they don't have to buy the SaaS solution. So that's definitely going to be a big shift, as AI finds its place. I think what Theo pointed out, that it used to be that you spend a lot of time kind of looking for a SaaS solution that solves 80% of your problem. Now we're just going to release AI on it, and it will solve either the same, and then just kind of need to finish the last 20% or even 100. So Alim points out in the notes here that there has been a lot of talk about agentic, and I think that's going to evolve further. And thankfully, as kind of AI settles down, investors will start looking outside the AI scope. So right now, we're still, I think there's a lot of AI hype, but as this kind of downs a little bit more and kind of get understanding where it belongs in our daily lives and in our work environment, investors will again kind of start looking and realize that there's a world outside of AI that they can invest in, and that they maybe should also invest in, so that even AI can continue to grow. Another big trend that we'll see more and more, and Alim is not the only one pointing it here in the notes, is that there will be a lot of disposable one run app or AI builds that quickly just do something, like create just quick script for you that you run once and then throw out. So there is going to be a bit of rearrangement of our relationship with the code, and where we as developers will become less attached to it, and there will be a lot less, you could say, craftsmanship in it, because you just kind of release AI on it. It does what it does. We won't be, especially for just like one-off tasks, we won't be caring that much about quality, because it's like one, run it once, get the task done, and throw it out. So that's interesting. This is also related to another point I was actually testing with AI yesterday and into today, and this is on the literary front. For example, kind of like choose your own adventures, or writing a story for you, and it still has a lot of ways to go, but for kind of the casual slop, it's perfect. It already has all the tropes, and kind of can get you, since the AI model wants to please you, it will produce the adventure exactly as you want. So I think some genres that are, let's just say, about pleasing you as you read them, might struggle a lot. So that has been kind of a lot of fun that I had with this, kind of discovering its limits. But that's for another day. But I think we're gonna see the same thing will repeat across different industries, just kind of with different words, but the essence will be same. Just tired after work, I come and pull up some AI, and okay, I want to be kind of go and read the story where I'm going on this adventure. I have like this character here, and I'm going on adventure to slay a dragon or whatnot, and then we'll just create a story, and then we'll add at the end will ask me, what will you do next? I'll just write my action, and it will then continue the story from that. Same thing with the different AI tools here. Just I need you to just put summarize all my today's email, put it in this Excel, and be done with it. Just or maybe something. Well, this may be like something that you will probably run multiple times, but there will be more like, okay, I'm having this problem connecting to say an external hard drive. Go in and figure out what's going on, write me a script to connect to it and fix the issue. Now you do that, you run it, fix the issue, and throw it all out. So that's where we are going with that. And going to my final prediction here, we won't be able to escape geopolitics in tech anymore. This is a more of a sad prediction. It kind of also goes into all my other interests that I have outside of tech, and as aspiring sci-fi writers, constantly looking at uh, what's going on in the world, researching psychology, history, and also of the other things. And in a way, I would say that we've been pretty isolated in tech, and kind of doing our own things, at least when it comes to say our uh, internal communities. But I've seen that degrading a lot over the past few years. First, also we have again influx from say Asia, and when it comes to developers and Middle East and uh, other continents and countries that when open source was starting, or like even 10 years ago, it was very much Europe uh, and America centric, and that's also kind of what we've seen. The initial topics, or like banners, support this and this cause and so on. It was always very much America centric, and the only exception to that being the Ukraine war lately. But again, that even then is in general West centric, and I think we'll see as things deteriorate globally, we'll see more of these issues uh, coming forward. I think the California tech bubble is still kind of going to be there, but it's going to, I would say, experience more and more shocks from the outside, because California, I could say, politics and people living there is very specific to that time and place, and the rest of the world just does not operate under the assumptions that those people there have. And then there's going to be a lot more clashes. I've seen some very questionable behavior, let's just say, of certain people in open source that makes only sense if you are surrounded in the California bubble, but outside of it, it's not really going to fly. And that's going to become more and more pronounced, especially if we have any major world conflict. Then we are going to have a very strong hit on this, and we're going to have to really get more into realization that those things will have effect on it. And especially like with major conflict, we'll probably see a lot of disruptions, so that's going to also start shaping the software itself to be more resilient in case of disruptions. uh, and kind of related to this with AI, it also, and I think I've been seeing it a lot, is that people no longer really have to play as nice in the FOSS communities, because if you have problem with some other community, just fork or go somewhere else. But before, you even before, forking was difficult, but now with AI, you don't really have to worry, because if you need something changed in that project, you just spin up Claude or GPT codecs or whatnot, and it will do that for you, and you don't have to deal with the people you don't want to deal. Um, so the big change here, that code will be cheap, or creating code easier than ever, cheaper than ever. Creating software, not so much, but again, in many cases, you won't really be needing what we would call quality software. Um, so kind of also with the different cultures coming in, and those cultural conflicts, we'll also see more of that. And again, as I've mentioned before, this article about software kingdoms from Ryan Fleury, I think not just as like kind of reaction to AI, but also I would say the real world conflict spilling into the online environment. We'll kind of see more of kingdoms, and he has a long article going into a lot of details, but in essence, software kingdom that under the control of the owner contains code, information, and community with access granted according to the terms of the circle's ownership. So in a way, it's like a like we have the benevolent dictators in open source projects today, but in a more you could say formalized manner, and you have to kind of officially get in and get granted access, and then you kind of have access to the entire community. And I think that's kind of we'll see something similar emerge over this year more and more. And part of that is going to be that first of all, we are communal creatures, so we crave community. Another thing is that most people don't understand what makes our existing systems function. So this will be kind of a way to get into the circle of technologies you'll be using and get deeper understanding and be part of that. And outside of the scope of this article, but another thing which I think will can also fuel say the conflict is because of the screen. There is no contact, physical, not directly being able to see what the other person there. And even like through screen, I think a lot of people kind of have this dissociation that they see the other people that are on the internet not as people, but as characters in some sort of like a story or narrative as well. It's kind of interesting, and I was like thinking about this in a way, if you are kind of looking at history, analyzing these things. And I remember watching political or geopolitical analysts and some guests, and one kind of guest started going just like thinking about the losses in Ukraine and the geopolitical. And I was like, stop, that is not how you can think about it, otherwise you are going to it's going to destroy you. And in a way, I think that's kind of what more people actually are. They're thinking about a lot of these things that are happening online or in the world, and they're just seeing like characters in the story. It's something that does not affect them. So I think that's something we have to be very remember, that there are people on the other side, but at the same also remember that they might not wish us well. And I think that's something that some groups will find the hard way this year, or I think like in general, because our incentives don't align, and this is going to cause a lot more and more trouble online. And I think the California bubble, or how you want to call it, is kind of not prepared to do what really is out there. But at the same time, I would say the general tech people that come in are more of the cooperative and more closer aligned, could say, to the thinking of the California bubble than the rest of say of like their communities, but not always. So that's something that is going to keep on coming and influencing us. So, and I think we will kind of see quite a big shifts in this year. So to kind of summarize this, I think it's time to look potentially into offline first application and see if you can develop those for if we for the regions where war might be more prevalent or conflict. Fingers crossed that it will still be relatively peaceful, that things can be resolved. But details on that are for another much longer discussion than that, and we'll see what it brings. But I think if the first weeks of 2026 have shown, I think it's going to be interesting year for the history books. So, and we'll no longer can escape completely unaffected into our code and fun and games online. So, as I said, time to look maybe into the offline first approaches for coding and residence coding in general. With that, those are our 6 predictions that we have put together. I think we might do a deep dive maybe on some of them, because I think each of them, for the most part, could be an hour-long discussion. So we'll see what we can do. Maybe we'll do some pre-recording with Alim, and maybe if you want to come in and share your thoughts on of these, or if you want to share your prediction for 2026, leave a comment, and you can either do it here on YouTube or in the forums. We have a thread in the forums for this episode, so leave it there. Let us know what you think about our predictions. What are yours? And last thing, some reminders. Will be off for the next 2 weeks. I am traveling to another continent for mostly vacation, you could say. So I'm looking forward to that. And during that time, I'm not even sure if I will have computer with me or internet, because my laptop has, let's say, with total fatality, broken down. So who knows what we are going to be able to record for you, but definitely no live shows for the next 2 weeks. And then we'll see if then we'll be back with news and some interesting topics for you. And with that, thank you very much for joining me into our crazy predictions, or maybe not so crazy predictions. We'll look at it in 1 year's time again to see how much we did get wrong or how much we were spot on. They were also much more broader. As you notice, no MeteorJS prediction, because we have in a week's time we will have details from the team. So if anything, we'll have prediction maybe after that. But I think we'll have more from the Meteor team to see what they are planning, what they are cooking. So that we kind of thought that it would not be in a good taste to spoil their show and kind of give our expectation before they kind of give us what they are willing to commit to. That said, this was episode 108 of This Week in MeteorJS. I'm Jan Dvorak, aka Storyteller CZ, and I'll see you around. Happy 2026.